Alan and see his shows across the course of the year quite a few times, and he's always entertaining, and he's always got that on the front of his face, a great big smile, which is exactly what angling's about. I'm very interested in that. Face mask and snorkel. Check this out. We're going underwater. I shall be watching this one. Right, over to you.
Thank you, Rob. Hello guys, ladies and gents, boys and girls, lovely to see you all on this beautiful, beautiful sunny day. Let's check if the slideshow works first of all. No, of course it doesn't. So I said to this gentleman here who's in charge, if he sticks that same music on, I can probably dance for about an hour and a half, and I can entertain you that way. Fingers crossed I'll get it sorted in a minute. Yeah, as I said, it's very, very hot, so I appreciate you coming and taking the time to sit and listen to me. While they're getting that going, getting up here and doing this is somewhat difficult. Not because I don't like talking to people or I'm shy or anything like that, because it's difficult to know exactly what to say to appeal to all of you. For sure, I can see some faces out here now that I saw here last year, so you've heard the slideshows before. Some people might have watched the videos, read magazine articles, so it's always very difficult to get up here and give you guys fresh, new, interesting content. The last thing I'd want to do is bore you to death with stuff you've heard before. So that's always very challenging. But for those of you who maybe not aware of me, maybe wives or partners, people that have just come into the sport, a very, very quick insight. I've fished since I was sort of 4 or 5 years old. My father took me a lot every weekend, summer holidays, etc. And just general fishing. And yeah, that kind of grew into specimen fishing. Did a lot of match fishing. Of course, caught an awful lot of carp. When I grew up in my sort of younger teenage years, we had a big boom in England of commercial carp fisheries that saw lakes being dug all over the country that were heavily stocked with carp. And I would go to these venues, pay £5, £6, £7 a day and catch sometimes hundreds of fish in a day. Single figure fish, occasional sort of doubles, mid doubles, upper doubles, and that was kind of my angling for many, many years. You know, I was catching thousands of carp a year. But I was never a carp angler, in my opinion. You know, I didn't really use hair rigs or bite alarms. I used to go and hunt the fish, stalk the fish, catch the fish down the edge on a pole line, any way possible. You know, I learnt to understand the carp, their behaviour, how they fed, and I adopted my approaches accordingly. But I didn't go with 3 rods, a bait boat, and start spotting loads of gear out. And that didn't happen for many, many years. Cutting now to sort of the future. I've always worked in the fishing tackle industry from a very young age. At 13, I had a job in a tackle shop part-time. I ended up doing an awful lot of tutorials, teaching people to fish on a Saturday and Sunday right across the country. I, in sort of later life, in my early 20s, went on to become a teacher. I lectured in fisheries management for 3 years. And then about 11 years ago, I got a job at Nash. And I've been there ever since, and I'm going nowhere, and it is now my life until I die. I've had the time of my life. Kevin's been incredible to me. He's taught me an awful lot and gave me ridiculous opportunities to not only grow Nash as a company, but also to see the world and make lots of new friends. So that's a very quick insight. Yo, big ups. A quick insight to how I've got to where I am today. It will probably stun you a little bit, guys, to understand that the fishing that I dislike the most is this, carp fishing. The cliche carp fishing. 3 rods, 4 rods on a spot, spotted out a load of gear, fishing 3 identical rigs almost over the top with a little bit of yellow sweet corn. And I kind of got brainwashed into this style of angling about 15 years ago now. And for a good few years I went through the motions of having syndicate tickets, fishing difficult club waters, catching very little, and it was almost very robotic. I was kind of going there, doing what the textbook said I needed to do, and I'd kind of forgotten everything I'd learnt about carp and how to hunt them and stuff. When I joined Nash, my whole approach changed, and I started to understand the fish again like I used to, go out there, hunt them, and that big inspiration came from not only Kevin Nash, but also some of the youngsters that I was very close with, people like Carl and Alex. I remember meeting them sort of maybe 8 years ago, maybe even a little bit longer, and these were 2 kids that were catching big carp with £20 fishing rods and half a can of Jolly Green Giant. And you know, at the other end of the scale, you look at youngsters like Alfie Russell, who was going into these park lakes in central London, again catching huge fish on very, very limited amounts of tackle. And it was an amalgamation of watching these, you know, youngers, how deadly they were, and also listening to Kev a lot, that I got sucked back out of this brainwash mentality of wanting to catch big carp from circuit waters. And now for the last 5 or 6 years, I've just loved my fishing, you know, really, really loved my fishing. As Rob kind of mentioned, I catch fish of all species. I don't deem myself, even to this day, as a carp angler. It's only because of working at Nash that I do a lot of carp fishing. Given the opportunity, you know, today I'd be out with a fly rod somewhere, or down the river, or out on a boat in the sea, or if money permitted and I managed to save the pennies up, you know, I'd be travelling to somewhere incredible around the world trying to catch, you know, ridiculous fish. And I'm always going to be like that. I'm never going to be an out-and-out carp angler. I'm never going to devote my life to targeting these sort of circuit water fish. I do immensely respect the guys that do, though. You know, I take my hat off to them. I tried it. It wasn't for me. There was nothing worse than doing a week's graft, you know, a proper week's graft, Friday coming round, buzzing to get down the lake, and you drive down there, open the gate to the syndicate, every decent swim's taken. So you drop into a shit bag, you know, and you spend Friday, Saturday, Sunday blanking. And this went on for many, many years. Occasionally you get lucky, you get into a good swim, but I wasn't enjoying my angling. So for me now, it's really important that when I go fishing, I go for the right reasons, and that's to love it. Slideshows, yeah, okay. So yeah, I just mentioned, haven't got any syndicate tickets, I'm not a member of any clubs. I got a Wazing ticket last year. This is the complex of pits, really, where the Parrot used to live, former British record. Had the ticket for an entire year, never fished it. Got another ticket this year, probably won't fish it. My fishing never sees me go back to somewhere twice. I'll only go back to a venue again if I blank there, because I've got something to prove to myself that I can catch them.